Hey, good morning, folks. Good evening, wherever you're listening right now. Whether you're jaing in Mexico, I hope so, because that's fucking cool. We had viewers down south of the border, because we have a border. Um, that sounded like a political statement, but it's not. This is your host of Life of a Veteran here, Bill Mustache, and I have special guest. I call him special because everyone has a story. And his name is Michael, and it's spelled actually differently because his mother was a kindergarten teacher, right?
Yeah.
I find
my dad and my mom were elementary teachers, so they felt like I needed to spell my name, be able to spell my name when I was very young. So they misspelled it to make it work better phonetically. And then education moved on from stuff like that, and I have a misspelled name. And I still give them a hard time about it. It's a lot of fun.
Was it a hard time while you were in the military with your first name?
Good Lord, no. No, it never came up. My behavior in the military was usually bizarre enough to take any heat off of my name.
Oh my gosh. So where are you from, Michael? Is it Michael? What?
Hey, call me Chappie.
Chappie? Okay.
Yeah,
Chappie.
call me Chappie.
All right.
Yeah, I'm Chappie from the 179th Infantry.
So you were in the Army?
Yeah.
So the sky is blue because of the infantry then?
Lots of things are because of the infantry. Definitely the sky and the grass.
So Chappie, why did you join the infantry or specifically the Army? What years were you in? I know that's
I was in. All right. I joined the National Guard as a junior in high school in 1998. And, I talked to all the recruiters. I was going to do something. The reason I joined the Guard is because I could go that summer and I wouldn't have to work at the co-op dumping wheat trucks. In my development, I developed honestly into a soldier. My grandma and my aunt just like raised me on Civil War stories. They snuck me into the movie Glory when I was 8. So so I was gonna do something anyway, but I joined the Guard because I wasn't good enough to go on and play the next level of Legion baseball, and I didn't want to work at the co-op again.
Now, can you explain how the National Guard is different as opposed to the Army and the Army Reserve, and what your guys' purpose, I guess? Because I don't know personally. I don't know much about the National Guard.
All right. The National Guard is a patchwork. You say the National Guard, and you could be saying you could be talking about a Pogue unit from anywhere. I'm going to say Iowa because I ran into some of those guys and they were terrible at their jobs. Just a random unit, not reflective of the whole Iowa Guard. So it's very, very local. Each unit has a very local culture. Like I'm in the 179th Infantry, we were soldiers. We were trying to get it done. My leadership, I'm in awe of the leadership I had as a National Guardsman. But I know that is not, a universal experience being in the Guard. I got real lucky. I got into a serious Guard unit in a serious state, and we did serious work. As far as like organization, the reserves, I have one of my buddies who was an RTO in one of our platoons in 03 is a captain now in a reserve unit, and he was telling me that they have a reserve unit that has just like 60 or 70 light colonels in it, and their job is still being a light colonel, and it's just a pool. It's an actual reserve pool. It's like if a unit needs a colonel, they call that reserve unit looking for it. And the way I understand it, it's the same. A lot of just admin stuff, support stuff, and that goes on in the reserves to augment the regular Army and whatever units are deploying on the mission. The National Guard isn't like that. You know, Oklahoma's National Guard is set up into two brigades, an artillery brigade and an infantry combat team, a brigade combat team. And, we, follow the same doctrine as an active duty Army unit as far as how we're equipped, how we operate. The training, because we have to pack so much into training, so much training into so little time. It's a lot more cavalier and cowboy. You know, when you've got to maintain your track, and you've got 3 days to do it that month, people aren't going to give you a hard time about having your uniform rumpled or your hand in your pocket. You know, it's a lot more, we've got the job to do. So we get a lot less of the frosting is what I call it. Like, you go, when we saw the 80% when we saw the 82nd garrison in Iraq, we were all impressed that all of their shelter halves were laid out, dressed, like the stakes were staked down, just perfect lines. That impressed us. We didn't have any time for that. We had, we've got stuff to do, and then we got to go back to our jobs and act like, normal, well-adjusted citizens, and that's hard on its own.
What was your civilian? Can I ask what was your civilian job while you were, National Guardsman as well?
I was in college for, so 99, 2005, I was in college. I skipped a year to invade Iraq. After that, I came home and I bunked a year. I didn't do well after combat at all that first year. And so I didn't get any college credits, but I got it together to graduate the next year. So 2005, I graduated, got out, and I taught 1 year in a public high school, and all the stereotypes. I was the teacher who gave them the pep talk before they ran out to get spanked in Dazed and Confused. Do you remember that? You remember that movie?
Oh my God. Yeah.
I was the history teacher who just didn't care and was like, you guys are gonna die. Just that was me. I was completely unmedicated, completely unhinged. It was beautiful. It was a glorious time in my life. Happy I lived through it, but that didn't work. Then I taught that year, and then I bounced around in the oil field. Then I deployed again. Then I came home, sold ice cream for 3 years, bounced around in the oil field again. And that's when I was medically discharged. I let them put me on the medicine. And the crash, and I pulled up, and the crash happened in 2013, and I am still recovering from that. So that's my that's the work history as far as the Guard goes. It's hard. Being in the Guard is hard. Saw statistics come out during this pandemic that Guardsmen are below average with housing, below average with food security. It's hard life being in the National Guard. You're expected to live with the same deployment stress as the active duty, but you're not living in the same culture where the mitigating factors for that stress are there for you. You don't have reveille. You're just cut loose, and then you have to get your shit together, 1 weekend a month, and it's a hard life. Those guys, and it's harder now than it was. I'm still pretty impressed with the guys from my battalion.
Now, it's hard to have. How do you guys cool? I mean, is there even time for the National Guard to cool down at all? I mean, was there even time for you to, adjust to civilian life? Because technically, you're in the middle. You're the liaison. I mean, in a sense, I mean, it's like you're like the hermaphrodite. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, what are you? Like, are you in the military? Are you not in the military?
Yeah, it's a strange existence. It's a strange existence because people see you 27 days out of the month. And oh yeah, that's Chappie. Or they didn't call me Chappie in the world. Oh, that's Mr. Chapman. That's Michael. He does this and that, and then he goes on maneuvers in the weekend, and they have no idea. They have no idea what it is. So yeah, it is very difficult. You end up being very insular with your, with the guys in your unit. The plus, the advantage of all this is the guys in my unit that I deployed with every time were the guys that I played high school football against. They're the guys from the town over. We used to run around with each other and, chase girls from one town and then fight with the guys when they caught us. It's like, and then I deployed with those guys. So we knew each other, and, we've got a real strong support system, even locally here now. There's, within walking distance of my house, there's 6 guys I've deployed with. So,
oh, wow.
And then, so yeah, that's an advantage that you get to keep your friends.
Because your friends are local. That's awesome.
Yeah. And my best friends in the world, my college buddies, my high school buddies, we joined the unit together on purpose. It's like I served with my friends. Now I hurt my career because I actually took a sergeant slot in a different company. And I was just like, what? This sucks, because being a sergeant isn't as fun as being a specialist. And I wasn't with my boys anymore. So I just, in this National Guard, I can just like, no, this isn't working out. I just left my stripes on the first sergeant table and started drilling back at my old unit and let them figure the paperwork out. And, that's how I get that. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, the Guard is a strange thing to navigate. But it's, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I still, in therapy now, I'll leave therapy and be like, wow, things are going really well. It's like, this is working. I've got 8 more years. I can still re-enlist and finish out my contract.
Right.
I loved the National Guard. But, like I said, maybe it wasn't the National Guard. It was Bravo Company, 1st and 179th Infantry. That's for sure. I love that. I don't know if I don't know about other units. Other units are other units.
You know what? Can you tell me more about Bravo Company's history, or the 109th's history? Would you like to tell more? Like, would you like to explain more about, is like your guys' rich history and whatnot? Because I don't know anything about the National Guard. So if there's any history that you'd like to spew to us, or
Are you familiar with Colonel Darby?
No.
Colonel Darby was the pioneering officer who created the Rangers, the Army Rangers.
Yes, I know who. Yes,
he was our battalion commander at Anzio. Oh. Regimental commander, battalion commander. He was the regimental commander at Anzio. So we, the 179th is part of the 45th Infantry Division. 500 combat days in World War II. 200, I don't remember right off in Korea, but over 200 consecutive combat days in Korea. And then my company in 2003 had 45 consecutive combat days on the invasion. If you see the show on Netflix, The Liberator.
No, I have not.
That is the 45th Infantry's World War II story. That's our band of brothers or whatever.
Okay.
So, as far as history, as far as lineage, it's like there's no unit across history that would make me, that makes me ashamed. There's no unit. I can't read about the sacred band in Greece. I can't read about, any unit anywhere. It's like I stacked the 179th up against anyone.
Awesome. Normally, folks, I would at least know of a person's unit, and I do at least a little bit of history, but I literally just met this guy probably an hour and a half ago.
Yeah. I was laying in bed and I saw a mutual friend of ours say that you were looking for guests. And I was like, and I have therapy this morning. And so I'm choking. I was starting to like run the exposure, I'm doing exposure therapy right now. And so I started running through my drills and I was like, ooh, an avoidance scheme. Yeah, I'll do that podcast. Let's do it right now.
Can you explain what exposure therapy is to the audience?
Yeah. Okay. So this part, I got through the cognitive processing therapy, and I assume you've talked about that before. So that's not.
No, actually, no, we have not talked about cognitive process therapy, and I have done that, folks, but no, we have not talked about
All right. So I want to start there because I had to do that before I got to exposure therapy. And this is all, I'm during the pandemic is when I was able to take the time and say, okay, now I've got the time to do this. And I've just been in like the 36 chambers of Goodwill Hunting therapy at the VA hospital. But so processing therapy, combat's confusing, because your body goes into, if you've read Colonel Grossman, what happens to your body when you start, when you go to the two-way firing range. So your memory gets screwed up. And I connected, like I didn't, combat felt bad. I got on the board. My friends and I got on the board. So afterwards, my body quit letting me remember the things that made it okay. It quit letting me remember, and it just let me remember the bad. And so I woke up every day, and it doesn't matter what I tell myself. If you wake up feeling like a killer and a murderer, you're going to have a bad day. And I did that for 18 years. And cognitive processing therapy taught me to re-examine the things that I had just decided were true, that were negative to me. And it unlocked the memories of the mitigating factors of combat. Oh, that guy was going to kill Carl. Those I had to kill those. It was a good thing. It was, and then there's some other situations where it's like, even though it was bad, the best thing that could have possibly happened. And so I had to get to a place where I fundamentally woke up in the morning and didn't feel like a bad guy. I felt like a good guy, like I am. I'm a veteran of the United States Republic. I'm a good guy. And once I was able to do that, to wake up feeling good about myself, then I was able to tackle the real gross parts of the story that were bad. So you go in and you have to find a therapist you trust. I've known this lady since 2013, and I knew that I wasn't ready to do this therapy yet. So I just made sure not to burn her. I didn't do any work with her at all because I knew she was sharp and I didn't want to mess things up, but now we go in and we just kind of talk around about things, and I'm watching my feelings, and I'm using those as a trigger. When I get to something that I don't want to talk about, I get annoyed, I get mad. Any strange, if the conversation does anything strange to my physiology, okay, we got to figure out why. Let's talk, because because there's something there that is connected. My body is connecting to, that it's responding to, and we've got to train my body not to respond to that memory. And so we just get to go through and think about the most horrific, awful crap until it doesn't bother me anymore, until it doesn't affect my physiology anymore. Stuff is always going to bother you. You don't want to, you'll be sitting there at Thanksgiving dinner having a wholesome experience. Your brain's always going to give you the most rotten thing it can at the time, and that's still going to be rotten, but it's not going to send me to the front lawn to dig a hole in the bushes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's it's a really gross experience that I'm really glad is about over, but I'm thankful for it because it has given me so much more. Man, it's given me function. I'm getting function back. My brain was so busy doing the post-traumatic stress thing and not, and it's completely involuntary. It's like the time that, you can't wash the dish because that's not gonna, because that dish isn't going to kill you, but you got to keep watching for the things that are. It's nutty, and it's nutty to see that now that I've got separation from it, it's my responsibility to train my body like I'm training a pet chimp. And really think of it that way, because and just observe myself, see it, and try to modify it. And that's the stage I'm at now, and it's hard, and it's worth it.
Is it harder with like, is it harder with the fact that 9/11 is coming up as well too? Was that a big influence? And I mean, you already joined pre 9/11, but how much
9/11 was the worst. 9/11 was the worst day of my life. Before that, it was an innocent party. It's like all the best parts of college, all the best parts of living, like a feral kid from Northwest Oklahoma. We just had a good time. The morning of September 11th, a buddy called me to see if I was awake, told me to watch the TV. I watched the TV, went to a class with my favorite history professor, and he was an asshole, but he was hard on me, and I was good at it. So, but and it was a big deal when he didn't have class. He goes, "Well, guys, we're just gonna watch this. Like, I got nothing to say today." So I sat there with him, and we had nothing to say. And I went to the armory and checked out my rifle and cleaned my rifle for the rest of the day. And that's when the party stopped. That's when, we knew things had changed. As of now, there's so much grief that it doesn't take a date to trigger it. Maybe someday it'll be something like a calendar date that triggers it, but it's coming up a few times a day anyway. So the fact that September 11th is coming up Saturday isn't the reason that I'm having a bad day. In fact, I'm probably going to have a pretty good day Saturday. It's sad. My battle buddy's mother passed away. He passed away. He didn't make it through 04, but his mother passed away, and we're having her service on Saturday. So that might be tough. Because there's so much. But mostly that's just coincidence. It would have been sad when she died anyway, and I don't think the date. If I don't think about it, it doesn't seem to intrude. It's not what's intruding. I've got enough intrusive thoughts that it doesn't measure up to them. It doesn't hold up. It can't compete.
I feel like an asshole for asking that question. However, I was in 5th grade history class when I watched those towers fall and whatnot. So I mean, I was just a child. I was literally a child. I was pubescent and everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Did it influence why you joined the Corps?
A little bit. I mean, I joined the Corps because I really needed somewhere to go, but it definitely, when I was a child, it really upset me. It really did. It really, it chapped my ass. It really, I don't know why, but it really upset me as a young child. I don't, what I mean? It was, it was the biggest punch in the nose, what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. It was, we joined the infantry on purpose, but, when you join, you never, Bill Clinton was president. We weren't worried about, a global war on terror when I joined. I was very innocent and naive when I joined the infantry. They wanted to put me in as a weatherman, and I was like, no, I'm gonna be in the infantry.
You're that smart.
So, yeah. Well, yeah. I am.
Because whether was it to be a weatherman in the military, that is not easy, but you have to be a smart they don't play around though for the religious, right?
My my GT score was high enough to qualify. I'm not untalented in that direction, but mostly that's applied. Like, I'm not a I would have enjoyed, like, I wish I'd have done the weather thing now, but I wouldn't give back the infantry because of what I learned in the effective realm. Like, I don't like numbers and gear and equipment as much as I like dealing with people and dealing with your squad mates, keeping morale high. It's like I got a lot of training to be a Protestant minister when I was a kid. My grandma thought that I was going to be a preacher, so I got a lot of training in that realm of taking care of people and just so I enjoyed that more than I would have enjoyed being a weatherman. I think that's where my real, that's the place where I've applied my intelligence. But it's just a naive decision though at the time to get. It's like, no, it's like I'm going to be a combat soldier. As an 18-year-old kid who didn't know anything. It's I'm constantly fascinated by my decision-making process because all my friends, we talked about my company that I was going to join the whole time with the recruiter. And then when I got in with the other guy and he's reading my contracts to me, he's like, and your MOS is going to be blah, 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 whatever is not 11 Bravo. By that time, I'd been drinking the infantry Kool-Aid since I was probably 7. Is the first time I understood the difference between the infantry and the cavalry. And I was like, oh, it's like, so I was mad at him. I chewed him out. I'm like, no, I'm not going to, what is that? What is that pogue crap? It's like, I'm an 11 Bravo when I was a kid, I didn't know anything, but I got so mad. I'm just fascinated by the indoctrination and the conditioning that I had given myself or my, however I received it to respond like that at that age. So I don't have any excuse.
So it sounds like you had no influence too. I mean, other than just your own, thought of just joining as a young boy and whatnot. So I mean, it sounds like you had. Was there anyone that was in the military, like in your family, or like?
I had one cousin who was in the military, and he was an infantry platoon leader. And what we did together was we put on Alice gear and went paintballing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like, the real influence though was my grandma. My grandma would, she didn't read me stories about famous dancers. She read me stories about famous soldiers. And so I was like, oh, well, this is it, right? And then pro wrestling had an impact too, because it's like, oh, well, like these guys are fighters. It's like when I was a baby, when I was a little kid watching pro wrestling, I was like, oh, look at this exciting stuff, and everyone's cheering for the fighters. And my grandma was reading to me about, the soldiers. And then G.I. Joe was on TV. It's like, I didn't really have a lot of defenses against the infantry. I was gonna be a grunt.
Folks, that's his God-given right. That's right there, that he's infantry. We're gonna say that's a fact. No opinion. That was folks, I think he metaphorically just laid out his infantry dick and was just like, folks, here it is. Here I am. And we're here for it. You know why? Because I'm a pogue. It's a personnel other than grunt. My job is to hold the balls. So I'm, the pogues are the ones that hold the cock and balls. You know what I mean? Like we're nothing. Not like nothing, but you know what I mean? Like it's, like the whole purpose is to support the infantry. I mean, that was like the Marine Corps, like that we were taught, you know what I mean? Like if you're a pogue, like your whole purpose in life is just to support the infantry. That's what you're there for. You'll never be part of a big show, and that's okay. You don't have to be part of a big show.
I don't know about any of that. I'm just talking about myself.
I'm just joking here.
Yeah, the term pogue is hilarious to me, and I like using it because it's so ironic. It's like calling someone a pogue. You call someone a pogue because they like things like pillows and sheets. Just obvious everyday stuff. It's like anytime I do something weird, it's like, my kids are like, oh, I want to go fishing, but I want to take food. I don't want to take hardtack. And I was like, yeah, that's pogue talk. What is that? It's like comfort. That's stupid. Yeah, it's just so ridiculous. And my friend and I were walking around talking the other day, and we started laughing about a memory of us pulling up to Camp Groover in Oklahoma, which is our training area. And most of the time, whether we were there for 3 days or 2 weeks, they just kind of dumped us off the bus and we walked out in our field gear, and we were in the field until they brought us back for a shower and put us on the bus to go home. One night, we were doing something like simulation training. We were going to go and try out their laser simulators or something like that. And we get out, and it's like 2 a.m. and everyone's tired, and they're like, well, we got to wait here for an hour to check out these barracks. And we all just started bitching. We're like, the tree line's right there. We won't have to clean barracks in the morning. We were fighting to not sleep in beds. And we meant it. We were mad. And I was just like, and remembering that now, it's just like, what in the world? How did they train us to do that? It's like, wow, how did that happen? And we're just like, it's looking back and remembering just how hard we ended up is just funny to us now, because I'm a connoisseur of comfort now.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, I don't want cheap socks. Give me the wool fluffy socks. It's like I'm bougie now.
You rate it though. You rate to be bougie.
I enjoy it.
Now, what's one thing you miss about being in the field then? Because it really you literally were arguing with someone it makes no sense now why you so what's the biggest thing about the field that you miss? Is it the camaraderie or?
Yes, but I get that from the gym.
Really?
What it really is, I'm in my wife's office right now. She's a CPA and she's a crafter. She's got a Glowforge and a vinyl press, and she's got her little factory and she sells it. And it just looks like clutter to me. It's just like a big blur of clutter. So it's just stuff. In the field, as a light infantryman, you've got your stuff. You know what all the stuff does. It's there for 2 or 3 reasons. And just the comfort of knowing, of feeling like I have my shit together because it's in my bag. I think that's it. When I take my boys fishing, I'm having a good time. But if they leave gear out, I'm like, hey, get your gear to. I think it's just I think it's an OCD thing. In the field, everything made sense. Because it's right here. I might come up with something different in 2 weeks, but just the simplicity of everything I have in my life is on my back. That's why, I'm working to go. I'm getting the gear to go to do the Appalachian Trail now, just because I think it'll be nice. It'll be easy.
Oh wow!
I just look forward to. It's like any job that I'm going to have to do, I have in my bag, or it's not worth doing. I look forward to that.
When do you plan on doing that?
My kids are 7 and 8. I would like to do it before they are 13.
Oh, that's neat.
Because I don't want them to miss. I want to do the trail with them before they get into high school sports and stuff, so I can take them out of a month of school on either end, and have time to through hike the thing with them.
Now, folks, we're gonna keep this episode a little short and whatnot.
Oh wow, that's gone fast.
Yes, it has. Well, because we still have any save rounds, whatnot. So I mean, it's just that Chappie over here has to get going soon. Now, I do want to know, how did you get the nickname Chappie before we go to save rounds?
Chappie is not a nickname so much as he's a character.
Holy shit.
The guy is, you know, I'm an entertainer or attention deprived, whichever you prefer. So if and in the Army pre-phones, everyone's just sitting around waiting. They want entertainment, and I wanted the audience, so I had a captive audience. So I put on a show. So Chappie, all my friends, my friends call me Chappie. It's like, my wife calls me Michael about half the time, and my kids call me Dad, but most people call me Chappie. But he was just, he just, if something needed done, and even if that something was stripping naked and busting open a bunch of chem lights and pouring the juice all over you and running around at night, Chappie did that. That's what he did. So,
now, did Chappie have a mustache?
In 03 he did, but it wasn't like this. It wasn't as majestic as the mustache now. It was like a thin little 23-year-old,
okay,
baby mustache. It was awful.
So no Charlie Chaplin mustaches?
No, I've never had it in regs. No. My one of our how do you explain Sergeant Stroud? One of our senior NCOs wore the little Charlie Chaplin stash.
Oh my gosh! Now, folks, we're gonna go to. You got any save rounds at all?
Yeah. Listen, if you haven't got therapy yet, do it. Get back in the fight. It's like you did what you did to get the scars that you have, and that was a fight. You can, if you miss the fight, therapy is where the fight is. Fight for yourself. Get back into it. Do what they say. Swallow your pride. You're going to learn a lot. It's going to completely screw you up. You're going to have to go all the way crazy so you can work to fix yourself, but it's worth it. Do it.
Thank you so much for that. That's actually a beautiful message, and that makes me think of staying in therapy. It's not that I don't want to get out of it. It's just, like sometimes you're like, hey, I just need a healthy break from it.
Oh, I understand. Yeah.
Because you do it so long and whatnot.
Oh yeah, I got lucky. Well, I don't know if I got lucky, but I had a vacation scheduled, so I was going to have to miss an appointment this summer, and she had a vacation scheduled the next, so I had a 3-week break, and it was spectacular. I almost felt like a rational, like sane and well-adjusted human being. Almost.
I'm fortunate that now I'm lucky enough that it's like once a month now for me. I mean, like I check in like maybe 4 to 6 weeks now. So I mean, I'm doing a lot better. And I take medication as well, which is helpful. It's just I definitely want to get off of medication and have because it's like it's affecting, it's affecting my health, like it's affecting my weight, honestly. I mean, so
yeah, I had the same thing happen. I'm a tall, skinny guy, but I was a little butterball when they had me on the pills.
Well, I mean, this looks like you're talking to a fucking coconut right now. It's just around. All right. I mean, it's
you need to be better to yourself.
I am kind to myself, but I mean, you got the little almond eyes, I mean, and a coconut head. I mean, it's not a bad thing. I mean, like I got hair at least, so.
Oh man, so
I was even trying. Oh my bad. I wasn't trying to say it like that. Like,
it's so rough. Shit. It's like I'll notice, like right now, I've been noticing it the whole time because it's weird. Like bald guys. Let me tell you something about bald guys. I'm not talking about shaving their heads. I'm talking about guys who did it the honest way. it doesn't feel bald. There's still enough hair there that it feels like the rest of my shaved head. So it doesn't feel like I'm bald until I see it. And it's kind of a shock.
I didn't even know you were like, now I feel like, folks, I didn't know he was bald. Like, I didn't know. I fucked up. I'm so sorry.
I am, you're okay. I don't want you to stress about that at all.
Well, with that, folks, we're going to end the show with harassing bald people. Thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate it. Folks, I hope you enjoy this short one, and hopefully we'll have Michael on in the future. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bill. I had fun.